Yeah, I think the 33rd floor instead of the 5th floor where the NFL is because I suspect some of these buildings you can go up to the building management office, which is where the 33rd floor is. It could also be that like someone actually pressed the 30, like those are pre-assigned. Like you have to be sent to a floor. If you've ever been in one of these buildings in New York City, I don't know the elevator, the type of. Anyway, let's get started.
We will begin with that shocking mass shooting here in New York City.
We're gonna talk about the CTE dude, the dude who drove all the way from Las Vegas to New York City to shoot up the NFL headquarters, and then the cop that was off duty, that was doing security himself, and I think like shot a bunch of other 2 other people.
Police say a gunman walked right into the lobby of an office building, and 4 people are, including an NYPD officer.
You can see the suspect here carrying a military-style rifle. Police say he had a history of mental health issues. Lilia Luciano is outside the building in Midtown Manhattan, which is just a few blocks away from our studio. Lilia, good morning.
Oh, it was the CEO, not the NFL. A Blackstone executive was, yeah, but he was trying to. It's not BlackRock, it's Blackstone. And he wasn't trying to kill the Blackstone people. He was trying to go into the NFL. He was trying to go to the NFL part of the building, it seems, because from what we know, that's what it's in the same building. So he went to the wrong floor. Blackstone is not BlackRock. And he wasn't trying to go to Blackstone anyway. It seems he was trying to go to the NFL building because he blamed the NFL for his CTE. Bro, he's just like, no, it's not gambling related. No, he's just, it's crazy. He's just
Morning,
crazy.
what do we know?
Good morning, Adriana. As you said, he had a history of mental health issues and something that's raising questions. He also had a concealed firearms permit that the Las Vegas police released yesterday. We know the gunman entered this 44-story.
What the hell, bro? It's not just you. Other streamers have been having this too. Oh, fuck. I can't tell if it's like Twitch related or on my ISP side. All right, let's just continue. Man, I feel like the whole world is against me. Oh my God.
Skyscraper yesterday. It's a prominent building. It houses several companies like Blackstone, one of the biggest investment firms in the world, and it is the headquarters of the NFL. And this morning we're learning that one of the people shot is an NFL employee. He is in stable condition in the hospital.
You are responding to an active shooter incident.
Law enforcement officers raced into this Midtown Manhattan office building Monday after a gunman. Outside, others began CPR in the street. Police say just before 6:30 p.m., the shooter, seen here in surveillance footage, brazenly walked into the skyscraper at 345 Park Avenue with an M4-style rifle and started shooting.
The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire.
The NYPD commissioner said the gunman made his way to the elevator bank, shooting a security guard.
The shooter then calls the elevator, which opens in the lobby. A female exits that elevator, and he allows her to walk past him unharmed.
Police say he then went to the 33rd floor, home to the real estate company Rudin Management, where he hit one person before he shot himself in the chest.
I heard all these loud bangs.
This man, who didn't want to show his face, escaped the building when he heard the gunshots.
I came out 5 minutes later. One of my coworkers came out, and he said he saw 2 people get shot.
Others stayed inside and barricaded themselves in offices.
We believe this to be a lone shooter.
Police have identified the gunman as 27-year-old Shane Tamura. They say he had a documented history of mental health issues. He lived in Las Vegas and drove across country through Colorado Saturday night, then Nebraska and Iowa on Sunday, before reaching New Jersey Monday about 2 hours before the shooting. Inside his black BMW, police found a revolver, multiple rounds of ammunition, and medication. The motive is still under investigation.
We lost 4 souls.
The reason why he's on the chest is because he wants his brain to be for CTE. It seems like he had a litany of mental health issues. He played football. He was a prospect. He never played in the NFL. He was working in Vegas. I looked into his background. And I guess he blames the NFL for it regardless. He didn't actually play in the NFL, but it seems like this was his this is what he was. It seems like that's what he was trying to target it. Like that's what he was trying to target was the NFL. He ended up going to another floor and up a bunch of people in the process, and then himself.
To another senseless act of...
Yeah, he played high school. I think he played college too.
One of the 4 victims was 36-year-old NYPD officer Didarul Islam, an immigrant from Bangladesh. Islam joined the NYPD in 2021. He had 2 young sons, and his wife is pregnant with their 3rd child.
He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice. As he lived, a hero.
And just as we're standing here, we're seeing the NYPD and right behind us. They just lowered the flags in front of the building to half-staff. Officer Islam was one of 2 uniformed officers in the building when the happened. The other victims who were include 2 females and 1 man.
Is it plausible that he shot himself in the chest with an assault? Yes. And I suspect the reason why he did that is because he didn't want to shoot himself in the head, because if his main gripe is CTE, he left a note. He left a note. And in the note, it was, I think he was talking about he left a note, and in the note he was talking about how he wanted people to study his brain. It's common for people with CTE. That's the situation.
We're joined now by CBS News law enforcement contributor Richard Esposito. He's a former deputy commissioner of the NYPD. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. So there's a lot of reporting out there. What have you learned about the suspect? What have you learned about his motives?
So the suspect appears to have played high school football. He appears to have had grievances based on papers found on him that point to the NFL. Authorities in Las Vegas have not yet, as of last night, entered his home to see if there's more information about him. He says he had a brain injury, or he blames that on his mental health condition. And that's what we know. We're still developing that information.
Okay, the letters CTE are coming up. Is that what you're mentioning with the brain injury?
Yes. That is what I mentioned. That's a long-term brain. You would know better than I.
Of course, I'm familiar with it. What are the next steps in this investigation?
First, they will continue to explore his motive. They'll continue to ask the questions that we all want to know. How did someone with a documented mental health history have a concealed carry permit for a gun? That wasn't the gun he used, apparently. He used an AR-15 knockoff, or, similar to an AR-15.
Yeah.
But why did he have that permit? He had been an unarmed security guard in Las Vegas, but his license had expired, according to authorities there. So they're going to continue to work on his motive, continue to work on how he had that kind of license, and continue to work on if there's substance to his grievance.
And so, Richard, there is so much that we still don't know, but there are things we do know from the video footage, from witness accounts. We know that he drove across country, right, from Las Vegas. We know that in his car there was a loaded revolver, ammunition, magazines, not any kind of explosive device. We know he took the elevator to the 33rd floor. What does all of that tell you?
Well, first of all, you have the question of how does he enter a building in Manhattan and manage to walk through security with a rifle in his hand? That's one of the questions you have to ask. You know what your security's like here. What was it like there? So people will look at that. He seemed to know where he was going, although it looks like he got off at the wrong floor. He got off at the floor for Rooted Management. They own and manage the building, and not the floor where the NFL has their offices. So we know those things about him. He seems to have prepared to some degree, and he seems to have made an error. What's in his car? I'm not familiar with all the contents of the car.
Well, we are... Go ahead, Blatt.
Yeah, no, Richard, so what is the big question that you have right now in the aftermath of this?
The question is always the one that's hard to answer. What prompts someone to go and kill people they don't know? People who are innocent. It's not like Luigi Mangione, but it is a grievance against an institution taken out on people. Why does someone do that? That's a mental health question.
Drives all the way across the country to commit that heinous act.
That's exactly right.
And doesn't hide like Luigi Mangione did. He did it, just walked straight in.
Right in.
Richard Esposito, thank you so much for your insights.
New details on the mass shooting in the heart of New York City that left 4 people, including an NYPD officer. The gun was caught on surveillance.
What is that argument? Like he's braver than Luigi Mangione or something? Like what are they trying to say? I'm confused. Like this guy shot a bunch of random people. Luigi Mangione very specifically targeted one person. Allegedly, Luigi Mangione targeted one specific person.
Images
I don't
walking
understand.
into
The
an office
comparisons
tower,
are not
carrying, as you can see in that video, an M4 style rifle. Police say he immediately inside the lobby and then moved to the elevator bank, went up to the 33rd floor where he continued firing before ultimately taking his own life. This is the mass shooting in New York City in 25 years. Investigators have identified the gunman as 27-year-old Shane Tamora of Las Vegas. They've tracked his movements over the last few days as he drove from Nevada to Manhattan, parking just outside, double parking really just outside that building. Inside the building, the NFL's corporate offices, along with a number of other businesses. And a source does tell CNN the gunman had a note in his pocket which expressed some grievances with the NFL, also claiming to suffer from CTE and asking for his brain to be. Police, however, has stressed that at this point, any motive is still under investigation. As for the officer who was he has.
I mean, you already know, man. You already know what the solution to this is. It's not like people say, oh, better mental health. Sure. But the people who say better mental health treatment don't want to actually fund it anyway. And not only that, but also it's like too many guns, too many guns, too many guns, too many guns, too many guns. What are we doing? Too many guns. That has not gone away. I mean, I was just talking with Cameron Kasky yesterday about this on stream while this was happening. Cameron Kasky is one of the Parkland kids, as you guys know. Like he spent most of his adult life advocating for gun control and getting yelled at for that reason. And we jokingly said, oh no, that's solved now. The problem is solved now. There's no more violence. There's no more mass shootings, but there is.
He's been identified as 36-year-old Didarul Islam, a 3.5-year veteran of the department. He leaves behind a pregnant wife and 2 sons. Overnight, officials lining the streets outside a Manhattan hospital as his body was transferred. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams has ordered all flags on city buildings be flown at half-staff in tribute to the slain officer. Here's what he had to say last night.
He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city. And everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith.
CNN's Omar Jimenez is at the shooting scene for us this morning. Omar, what did we learn overnight?
Yeah, so we learned a few details overnight, but I want to start with what I'm seeing this morning, because obviously we're heading into a new rush hour, the first morning since this happened during evening rush hour last night. And as you mentioned, flags at half staff. We are seeing that outside the building here. We also walked up to the entrance, or got as close to it as we could. Police are out front, barricades, as you can imagine, guarding the entrance and sort of the block perimeter around it. But you can actually see the glass cracked, sort of the introductory glass panes, window panes as you walk in.
I don't know why CNN always does this. It's just like a CNN audio glitch. No one else, just CNN.
Cracked with what appear to be impact points on one of the window panes, but also on the lower portion of a revolving door as well. Remnants of what happened here in what unfolded in just a few minutes as this walked in, started opening fire on the lobby, killing 3 people in the lobby, including a New York police officer, before heading up to the 33rd floor and killing a 4th person. That police officer, 36-year-old Didarul Islam, an immigrant from Bangladesh, father of 2, expecting a 3rd. But we also just got in a statement that one of the other people was an employee for Blackstone. This building holds a number of different companies. Blackstone included the NFL as well. But this statement saying we
Are you touching the mic cable? It keeps making a loud noise. I'm going to lose my mind. Even my own mods. No, dude, I'm not. No, it's the CNN video that is making that loud noise. Every CNN video has this audio issue. Like every single one. Oh God.
They're heartbroken to share that our colleague Wesley LePatner was among those who lost their lives. So we're continuing to learn more about the victims in this as well. And all of this as police are trying to push forward to some sort of motive to figure out what may have driven this person to do this. We're appearing to get a few clues. A source with knowledge of the investigation says that this person had a note that talked about CTE, the traumatic brain injury, that is typically brought on from playing high-impact sports like football. And this place, this office, does house the NFL, and we do understand from the NFL an employee was shot here. But that's just one piece of what is going to be a larger investigation, again, to zero in on a specific motive here. This shooter lived in Las Vegas prior to carrying this out, before driving across the country to this block where I'm standing and walking into that building and doing what they did. But bottom line, as security is beefed up at this building over the next weeks and potentially months, families will be mourning those lost in just a matter of minutes.
Absolutely. Omar, appreciate it. Thank you. John?
All right, with us now, John Miller, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst. And John, you were doing real-time reporting on this throughout the evening, late into the night. I'm sure you didn't get much sleep, but what's the very latest you're learning now?
Well, we're learning bit by bit what his targeting was and how he ended up where he ended up. So as Omar told us, we see from that picture, he's walking up with an M4 into the lobby, and then he opens fire. But he wants to get to the elevators. And this is one of those moments where he sees an elevator open, he walks into the elevator, a woman has heard the shots and sees the man with the rifle walking in. She walks off the elevator, which undoubtedly saved her life. He doesn't attempt to shoot her, but he takes the elevator to where it's going. It's one of those buildings like this one where you get in the elevator and the elevator's already programmed to your destination. He doesn't know what his destination is. His target, we believe, is the NFL. He has written this note about CTE. He's talked about how it's the NFL's fault. The NFL is on the 5th floor. We don't know this. He may have believed that that was the NFL building, very much like so many of the floors are occupied by Blackstone. He may have thought, whatever floor I get out on, it may be the NFL. But the door opened, and he walked off into the 33rd floor, which is the headquarters of Rudin Management, the company that runs that building and so many other buildings in Manhattan, and shot apparently the first person he encountered, a woman who was a long-time and cherished employee of the Rudins. So that gives us a little bit of a window into a lot of the questions that were coming up yesterday, which was, what was his target? Why did he end up there? Was that his target, or was that happenstance? And some of those questions we'll never know because we obviously can't talk to him, but it's coming together.
A somewhat haphazard route from Las Vegas by car all the way, and we were on together last night when you reported the information about the car that they found. It's because he double parked on Park Avenue outside the building, which in and of itself is highly unusual and erratic. But to double park there and just walk casually across that plaza with the assault weapon.
It tells us a few things. It at least suggests a few things strongly.
So yeah, I'm not good. I'm really bad, as a matter of fact. I'm in a really bad mood. They didn't do a bone graft. They did. It just didn't work. We're doing another bone graft now. Okay. I'm in an incredible amount of pain.
Away in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But he knows, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back to this BMW. And I would suggest, based on the past cases we've seen, which are too many, that he wasn't coming back anywhere. I think the reason he did nothing to conceal that was he knew, I'm walking in, I'm opening fire when I get there, I'm going to get as close to my target as I can, and I'm going to keep shooting. And when it's over, I'm going to take my own life, which is what he did.
Obviously, those are the questions being investigated right now. I expect we will learn more in the coming hours, largely because of your reporting on this. John Miller, thank you very much. Erica?
Joining me now is Chris Swecker, former FBI Assistant Director for the Criminal Investigative Division. Chris, good to have you with us this morning. Let's walk through what we know in this moment. There's been a lot of focus on the video that we have of the shooter as he walks into the building, and I'm going to play that if we can, because he's so calm, and I've also heard someone else describe it as almost purposeful. What do you see in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, he walked into probably the city with the most wired video network in our country, and proceeded to walk. I've been in that building. I served on a Blackstone-owned company after I retired from the FBI and went to board meetings there.
Was there another mini F? I didn't even see it. I didn't even notice it.
There's a big courtyard, and you see him walking through that courtyard. It's 6:30 or sometime after 6 o'clock. Not as much traffic, foot traffic, as you would normally see. And you can tell he's holding the M4 at his side, so he's making some effort to conceal the weapon. But it looks like to me, like, again, he is purposeful. He's going to engage anyone who tries to stop him from getting into that building. And of course, nobody did, because people don't walk around armed in New York City, and there's no police officer outside the building. So he gets inside and quickly ambushes the first threat that he sees, which is an off-duty NYPD police officer who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. So, it's hard to get your rational mind around this. This guy drives 30 some odd hours across country over the course of 2.5 days, jumps out of the car, gets right to it, and goes into his mission. It's just really hard to fathom that.
Chris, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
At least 4 people are, including an NYPD officer, after a gunman inside a Manhattan office building yesterday.
Alexis McAdams joins us live now from the scene of New York City's in 25 years. Alexis.
Yeah, it's just horrible. And to see everybody walking around here, Brian, going to their workplace, wondering, if there's going to be more safety and security here in Midtown today, after we know a gunman pulled right up here in Park Avenue, got out of his BMW after he drove all the way here from Nevada, we're told, had an AR under his arm and walked into that office building behind me. He fired tons of bullets. I want to show you that it also shattered the lobby glass there. 4 people are this morning, including a woman who worked at Blackstone. They're saying that she was a huge member of their community. Her family is obviously grieving. It's just a sad situation. And then we know the NYPD officer was also shot. He was standing in the lobby there, and you can see there's lots of security out in front today. This is what we know about that officer. His name is
Didarul Islam. He's from Bangladesh, and he is an immigrant. I think he has 3 kids. Wife is pregnant with a 4th on the way, and now he was off duty. And he was doing protection there.
Didarul Islam. He's 36 years old. He was working off-duty security at the building. This breaks your heart when you see his face and you think about what he went through and what his family went through when they got that call. Married, 2 little boys, his wife pregnant with a 3rd kid. Originally from Bangladesh, and the NYPD says he was a man of faith who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice, shot in cold blood, wearing a uniform that stood for the promise that he made to this city.
Yeah, and he did everything he could to try to keep people safe in there, working off-duty security, thinking, it was probably a safer place.
Now how you react if it was a white cop? Brother, what are you talking about? There are plenty of instances where cops have actually worked to stop a mass shooting. Like, it doesn't matter what the race of the cop is. Are you stupid? This is, what do I always say? This is the one time where cops are supposed to be violent. Like, this is the instance. This is the appropriate instance. This is the whole purpose. Why are you guys so stupid that you immediately racialize this? White cop, black cop, brown cop, doesn't fucking matter. This is the point of police. I think a lot of people just ascribe whatever kind of value that they think I have here and assume that like my assessment is like, oh no cops at all, at no point. Like, I think you just don't care.
Place and being on
probably because there's a lot of anti-police shadows. I don't give a shit, dude. What do you mean? There's a variety of there's Nazis in this chat. Does that mean my position is reflective of Nazis? No. God.
the streets of New York. This is according to the police. That's 27-year-old Shane Tamira. Investigators say he drove here from Nevada. Inside of his car were some clues that he parked right in front of the building, including medication, ammunition, and another gun. Investigators say the meds were for his, quote, documented mental health history. There are also several high-profile tenants inside of this building: Blackstone, KPMG, and the NFL headquarters. And according to an internal memo that was obtained by Fox Digital, the NFL commissioner says one of their employees was shot and injured in the attack and is still in the hospital. Listen to this, though, because we've been talking about why did this happen, right? Well, according to Mayor Eric Adams, who just did an interview a short time ago, you guys, this guy played football in high school and had a note in his pocket when his body was found claiming he suffered from CTE. Adams says that he blamed, according to the note, this suspect, all of his struggles on football. The note also mentioned the NFL could be a motive, and that is still a question this morning. So back out here live, we're going to try to figure all of that out. But to know, that he left a note behind, that's new information that the mayor of New York City was just talking about, knowing that this guy armed with that AR knew exactly what he was doing when he came here at 6:30 on a Monday and went up to that specific floor before he took his own life.
Clearly, he didn't know
All right,
exactly
Alexis,
what he was
thank you.
doing, considering that he didn't even go to the right floor.
Parked his car, just kind of stopped it right in the middle of Park Avenue, left the door open. It was a BMW. He had driven cross country. Walks right in with this long weapon, and you can see in some of the pictures, if we zoomed out on this picture, which I saw on social media, you can just see people in the background, like walking into work. They didn't notice it. New Yorkers were all to ourselves, and we're so busy, and people are on their phones, and everyone's just walking on the street that no one saw this. So he walked right in.
And what about the fact he wasn't worried?
The conspiracy guys are in here. He got the Blackstone CEO. I think the note is fabricated. I don't think you guys understand. Companies like this have a shit ton of executives, okay? I think the NFL thing is fake. I ain't seen the note. Like, you have to think, what is the point? Like, what is the purpose? Why would he just not say he's trying to kill the Blackstone CEO if that's the case? Meanwhile, the fact that he shot himself in the chest to commit suicide instead of in the head to commit suicide, and a note that was left behind that pointed to CTE, considering that the building is also the NFL building, like all of those, you have to look at every single piece of evidence that is readily available before immediately rushing to the conspiracy. Yes, the profile of the victims is important. The profile of the victims is important. That's a major part of the evidence. That's a major piece. That's key evidence, right? To try to make an assessment on what the motives are. But a higher degree, like a piece of evidence as a higher value, is the profile of the shooter, and also on top of that, like some of the actions that he took, and if there is a note that was left behind or not. Do you understand?
About getting stopped.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I mean, look how wide open that is.
I'm just surprised in New York City you see someone with a rifle. I mean, if you saw this in Texas, I mean, that's just every day.
And he somehow went to the 33rd floor rather than the 5th floor, just so happening to be the office of the building owner / real estate mogul in Blackstone. Yeah, I think the 33rd floor instead of the 5th floor where the NFL is because I suspect some of these buildings, you can go up to the building management office, which is where the 33rd floor is. It could also be that like someone actually pressed the 30, like those are pre-assigned. Like you have to be sent to a floor. If you've ever been in one of these buildings in New York City, I don't know the elevator, the type of elevators they have there, but some of them have elevators that take you up to a specific floor unless you have the badge. Yes, the reporter said the destinations are predetermined when you get on. Exactly. So he may have thought that he was going up to the NFL floor, but he actually arrived at the 33rd floor. And then clearly he was just like interested in shooting as many people as possible regardless.
You see a guy walking in with a rifle in Texas?
Oh, 100%.
I worked in that building. You need a badge to swipe up on the elevator to get to most floors. That's why he ended up on the building management floor. It doesn't need a badge swipe. It's an open floor. Yeah. You know how when you go to your friend's apartment or something, your apartment complex, and they have pre-assigned parking spots? It's kind of like that, like visitor parking spots for the management company. Many of those buildings, Many of those commercial real estate buildings will also have the management company floor that you can go to freely without being badged in. It's kind of like that.
All the time.
But he could have had a gun. He has a handgun.
Well, you can have a handgun or a rifle in Texas, so it really doesn't
Much
matter.
harder
But
to
to
get a
see
gun
that
here.
in New York City, where it's so harsh, that's one thing. But you talked to Chris Swecker earlier, Brian.
Yeah, so he used to, not only was he the assistant FBI director, but he used to have to guard Bank of America, and he'd have to design the defense of Bank of America. Here's what he said stands out to him.
This building was typical, building security in New York City. A security desk. They got turnstiles. You check in at the desk. You get a badge. They probably take your picture. You go up to your floor unescorted. So it's okay security. But as a security specialist, I was head of security at Bank of America after I retired from the FBI. I believe that security has to be visible. If you're gonna use security as a deterrent from this sort of thing, and protection for the people inside the building, there's no sense having security inside if you don't have it outside. This type of mental illness is the most dangerous kind because they can act with purpose and almost rationality. They can plan. But yet, obviously there's some type of mental illness involved here.
He also talked about being visible, that he noticed that the incidents went down for crime when they had people outside, when it was visible that security was outside. But in most of these New York City office buildings, you have to walk in the lobby, then you have to check in. If you work there, you use your badge to swipe through. Then that takes you through the turnstile. And then to walk in any door, you need to have your badge.
It's difficult. So Mayor Adams is, in a new report, in a new interview, is saying that there was a note by the shooter that talks about CTE. I think a lot of people are making the connection with CTE and the NFL being office in this building as well. So I'm sure the FBI's BAU unit, behavior analysis unit, is trying to make some sort of connection there. Also, apparently, to Mayor Adams' point, he's a cop as well. He said that he went to the wrong elevator bank as well. So he didn't know exactly where he was going. So they're probably processing all that this morning.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
Yeah, they have to do door control type narratives because they can't say gun control. It's a big no-no. It's not allowed. So they got to point the finger of blame at anything they can. And it gets increasingly dumber and dumber until you arrive at the idea that it's all a conspiracy or a false flag to implement gun control or something.
Flags are flying at half-staff across New York as the city reels from its most deadly shooting attack in some 25 years. A security camera captures the gunman, 27-year-old Shane Tamura, as he walks toward a Park Avenue high-rise, carrying an M4 assault-style rifle by his side. Police say he opened fire in the lobby, got into an elevator, and then traveled to the 33rd floor where he opened fire again. Police say he killed 4 people and then killed himself. Witnesses describe the terror.
When I heard all these loud bangs, no idea what it was. Turned around, I thought the ceiling was going to collapse or something. I turned around, all these people were running.
The building houses corporate offices of the NFL, and a source says the killer had a suicide note voicing grievances with the league. This is what New York's mayor said this morning.
From our preliminary investigation, he took the wrong elevator bank up to...
We're going to talk about different things. No, we're just going to talk about this. Sorry. Take a week off. We're going to talk about this for the rest of the week.
The NFL headquarters. Instead, it took him to Rudin Management, and that is where he carried out additional shootings and took the lives of additional employees.
Manhattan reeling after a lone gunman killed 4 people before fatally shooting himself in a Park Avenue skyscraper Monday night in Manhattan, marking New York City's deadliest mass shooting in some 25 years. And we just learned that the gunman worked the Horseshoe Las Vegas Hotel and Casino as a surveillance department employee. Joining us now is the New York City Mayor, Eric Adams. Mayor, thanks so much for joining us. I wish we were talking about something more pleasant than this. My deepest condolences are with the police department and your city right now. Have investigators shed any more light on what may have been the motive for this attack?
The investigation is continuing. We're sending 2 teams to Las Vegas, one to execute a search warrant and the other to look at the 2 firearms and guns that were recovered. The motives appeared to be connected to the shooter's belief that he was suffering from CTE and he was an ex-NFL player. Those items just don't pan out. He never played for the NFL. And so we're still unraveling this terrible shooting that took place in the city.
Yeah, he never played for the NFL, never played college football. He did play high school football. New York authorities, as you well know, Mayor, found prescription medication, a loaded revolver, and more ammunition in the suspect's car.
Yeah, Eric Adams has CTE, bro. I mean, what the shooter said he played for the NFL? No, he didn't. And he didn't actually play for the NFL.
Which was double parked on Park Avenue right across from that building. Were there any indications he was planning additional violence elsewhere in New York besides the Park Avenue office building?
Not at this time. We had a large number of bullets that were found in the car, but at this time, the investigation has not concluded if he was going to take more actions.
What about the medication that police found in his car? Did that have anything to do with the suspect's mental health issues?
It's still under investigation. As you can imagine, this is still...
Bro, shooting yourself in the chest when you're committing suicide in a situation like this is actually yet another major indication that this is like somewhat CTE related, or regardless of his mental health issues, like he clearly thought he has CTE and wanted the medical examiner to study his brain. Okay, like that's it. He wanted to survive. No, he wanted his brain to be studied. Yeah, Junior Seau did the same thing. Like there's other people that have actually committed suicide and have left a note specifically asking for their brain to be studied. If he shot himself in the head, he wouldn't be able to. He wouldn't have his brain. He wouldn't be able to get his brain studied. His CTE diagnosis only comes after death, as it stands currently. CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Relatively new. It's less than 24 hours. The shooting took place around 6:20 something last night. And so,
no, you can be hit without getting concussed. Isn't it like repeated hits causing minor concussions? Yeah, isn't that what it is? They're tiny repeated hits. It's not just concussions.
So there are many layers of the investigation that we have to peel back to sort of get a full understanding of what took place here and what motivated a shooting of this magnitude. And as you indicated, we lost a young officer who has 2 children and a child on the way. Was just a devastating impact what happened to Officer Islam.
And you don't have to get it in the NFL either. You can literally it can happen in high school. Like any amount of playing football can cause it. Or not even just football, just like contact sports in general. But football is the one that's like most, where it's most common.
The victims.
It's so heartbreaking indeed. I know it's still very early in the investigation, Mayor. Is there any indication, at least so far, that the suspect was on the radar of any illegal authorities?
No, not at all. And what's challenging, Wolf, is that we have done an amazing job here in removing illegal guns and weapons off our streets, but this came into our city. Many of the other jurisdictions have a more lax gun policies. It appears as though this individual had a permit to obtain firearms, and we really need to look at allowing our federal law enforcement officials to look into the database of those with severe mental health illness, should they be allowed to carry firearms. This is a conversation that is going to be carried out on the federal level, but he was not on our radar.
I mean, this part is not even wrong. It's Eric Adams saying it, so it comes across as wrong no matter what, because he's the most wrong man in America, but he's not wrong. It's just like, even if you have a city where you have the proper gun control and have been able to greatly limit gun violence in your city as a consequence of proper gun control, you can't stop people bringing in firearms from other states, you know? This is precisely the reason why Chicago has gun violence problems. the overwhelming majority, I think it's like 90% of guns that are 90% of guns that are caught, like that are used in crimes, gun violence related crimes in Chicago, come from neighboring states.
At all. Will they be doing an autopsy, and will authorities be testing the suspect's brain for what's called CTE? The ME, the medical examiner here in the city, he would make that determination on the next steps in collaboration with the district attorney in Manhattan County. We know, Mayor, that one woman who encountered the shooter in the elevator was spared. Have you or investigators spoken to her, and how is she doing, and what did she have to say? Yeah, it was pretty eerie when you looked at the video.
It's really weird because, like, many of the factors that contribute to this are like, there are two major factors here. One is CTE, most likely, and the other is readily available guns. Okay, accessibility of weapons, and both are no-nos because they're directly tied back to corporate profits for gun manufacturers and corporate profits for the NFL. No one here supports Israel. Okay, Israel is the real terrorist in this equation. It's very odd that you guys still try to do this when public opinion on this has changed so much. Like, if you were to maybe go outside for a brief moment and have a conversation with another human being, you would realize that you are actually in the minority here. Okay? It's so strange to keep holding on to this notion that, like, and many of those guys will turn around and still be like, well, you know, Israel's doing wrong stuff, but you're still a terrorist. It's like, no one believes this. No one agrees with you. The only people that agree with you are like in Discord servers that you frequent. Please go outside. Okay, please.
Wolf, you saw that after the suspect shot several individuals, he came in contact with a woman who was leaving the elevator, and he allowed her to walk past him without any action at all. And he just shot one of the security guards who was behind the desk. And so that is going to be part of the investigation and the interviews that will follow. Was the suspect's concealed firearms permit that was issued in Nevada back in 2022 still active? And what do we know about the permit or any of the gun purchases? We're looking into that. That is why our team is going to Las Vegas to do a thorough investigation into the firearms to find out, were they legally possessed, and were they on his permit, and was he allowed to follow? But that is part of the ongoing investigation that our detectives are going to carry out in Las Vegas. As you know, President Trump issued a statement earlier this morning from Scotland saying he's been briefed on the shooting, and he expressed his condolences. Have you actually, Mayor, spoken to the president since last night's shooting? And if so, what did he have to say? No, I have not. And we thank him for his kind words for all of the victims and for our slain officer. I have communicated with our federal authorities, and our teams are doing the same. They are assisting us as we move forward in this investigation. Finally, Mayor, I know you spoke with police officer Didarul Islam's family, the New York police officer who was killed. You are a former police officer yourself, so what's your message to his family and the family of the other victims? A painful moments, and everyone who puts on a uniform, we do it with the full understanding that we're going to run towards danger as others will run away. And this was his dad's only son. And, you know, as a father with one child and a son, I could only imagine how painful it is. And I shared that with him and his family. And we thanked them for their service. This is a fine family. This was a fine young man that believed in faith, believed in fatherhood, and believed in protecting the city of New York. And as I said, our deepest condolences to his family. May he rest in peace, and may his memory be a blessing. Mayor Eric Adams of New York, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we know how this happens. It's the only country where it happens so frequently. No other country has this kind of issue. or when it happens one time in another country, they very quickly solve it. It's not a natural disaster. It is completely avoidable. It's completely preventable. It's a matter of political will. It's a matter of the government taking the correct action in this case, which they never will.